enjoy the tragedy of King Richard III at what is it now?
Shakespeare Festival
St. Louis. Yes, straight through. Shakespeare Festival St. Louis. We're back out in Forest Park, and opening night this year was a lovely evening, which turned quite cool by the end of the evening, but at least it didn't rain. And one reason I enjoyed it is that Richard was enjoying it so much.
Yes.
I mean, he is just so full of himself and so clever and so proud of being so clever and so happy with his evil. And of course you can say, well, that's because he feels he was cheated because it was misshapen at birth, whatever that misshapen was. I like the way that the actor here, Andrew Borba, did it. He'd actually gone into the medical background of this, and he just kind of had one side sort of stiff. But he could still move quite well, and because historically Richard, however much history is in this, and probably very little, this is mainly Tudor propaganda, but however, we know that Richard was a good fighter on the battlefield, so he couldn't have been too badly crippled. But Borba really made Richard enjoy all his scheming and what he was doing. And it made me sorry in that night before the final battle, when he's having nightmares and all the people he's killed show up in his nightmares, he actually feels guilty and kind of repents. He gets over that, I'm glad to see, and forges ahead. But I was sorry when he was feeling guilty about things. I thought, come on, you're beyond that, aren't you? But beyond good and evil. You know, let's be real, thoroughly Nietzschean here with everything. I thought there were a lot of smart touches in the directing by Matthew Arbour and in the characterizations that encouraged the actors to present. For instance, when Buckingham, who is Richard's main right-hand man, and then when Richard turns on him somewhat, he goes over to the other side, but he gets captured and he's going to be executed. And in this production, he kills himself, which I thought was rather nice. I mean, Buckingham would do that. I think the Buckingham he is. And I thought Gregory Waddell, who played him, very good-looking fellow, very solid performance with
Our
that.
Benedict from Much Ado last year.
Yes, yeah. I liked it too that, you know, at one point, Richard III, after he's married Lady Anne, the widow of one of the princes he's killed, eventually he says, well, give out word that she's ill and may not be with us much longer. Well, normally she's not on stage when he says that. This time she was, and she struggled as people carried her off. Interesting touch that way. I liked it that the Prince of Wales, played by Cameron Davis, was old enough to be a somewhat commanding figure. You know, he was a real prince on the way to being a king. I thought the way the final battle was done with kind of intermittent flashes of light, so we weren't sitting there just watching people heave their swords at each other. Very, very nice. And Richard also saw the ghosts again during the battle, which helped defeat him. Not something totally new, but I'm glad they did that. I thought James Wolk's set and the lights by Tracy Christensen on it, it was a very handsome wooden Gothic structure, and had various levels, which, again, the director used very well. Now, the costumes by Tracy Christensen, and I don't know what the idea was exactly, but they mixed periods in a strange way. A lot of it rather modern dress. At one point, the younger prince, the Duke of York, comes in on a bicycle. Somebody had a laptop at one point. The costumes, it's like they were sort of almost modern dress, and then when they go to the court, they'd put on these robes that were right for the court.
I think they were probably trying to suggest something about the timelessness of the politics, but I think I would have rather had the time specified.
Yeah, and we had sort of swing music in that opening scene. I thought we were going to do the Ian McKellen Richard there for a minute. But otherwise, Robin Weatherall's compositions, as always, and Anne Slayton's sound were quite good. I liked it did leave a nice touch with these two sort of Secret Service men always around Richard, who were played by Jason Cannon and Cesar Garcia, were in dark blue suit and shades, and menacing in that way. A nice touch that way. And the murderers of the Duke of Clarence, who were played by Jim Butts and Andrew Michael Neiman, sort of behaved like present-day street hoods, the way they carried on. A lot of stuff. But lots of fine performances. I mean, a huge cast, but Gilbert Cruz as King Edward IV, both sickly and as the timorous Lord Mayor of London. Jerry Vogel as Clarence did some nice work and then came back with other roles. Ralph Markowitz, local boy, was the young Duke of York. Nancy Lewis, another local actor, very fine as the Duchess of York, the mother of Richard and of his brothers. Claudia Robinson, who was actually, I believe, born here. No, I'm sorry. Claudia Robinson was Queen Margaret, and her wonderful Curses, the widow of Henry VI. Beautifully done, I thought. Megan Wiles, another local actor, as Lady Anne. Lisa Bruno, who was originally from here, was Queen Elizabeth, the wife and then the widow